Welcome to this VR Patience video. In this video, we will explore the powerful check node of scenario logic. Check nodes are conditional statements that return either a yes or no value and trigger the appropriate branch of logic. Check nodes are used to determine if a condition or multiple conditions are met when an action is completed. Scenario authors can present the user with certain effects that trigger when a check evaluates as true, yes, and an entirely different set of effects if the check evaluates to false, no. Selecting a specific check determines the information the case author must enter into the node to review decisions made by the user during the simulation. Depending on the results of the check, appropriate downstream nodes will be triggered. In this video, we will explore a variety of different check nodes. Dialogue checks for questions require the author to identify the question and select the number of times it needed to be asked in order to satisfy the check. Dialogue checks for a call E question require the author to first select the call E, then identify the question and select the number of times it needed to be asked in order to satisfy the check. An assessment check, for if pulse was palpated, may be used to check if any location was assessed. If a specific location was assessed, or any one of multiple locations was assessed. Some checks require no additional information, such as the assessments of if lung sounds were checked or was pen light used. The IV check can determine the administration of any fluid at any rate, a specific fluid, or one of multiple fluids. The case author can also check for a specific rate or one of multiple rates. This check can also be used to see if a saline lock was administered. The IV check is one of the checks that has the advanced toggle. When selected, the author can set more conditions for the check to be satisfied. The side of the body, the side of the IV, the needle gauge, the IV bag, and the tubing size become available for the author to set as conditions of the check. When multiple conditions are present in a single check, all conditions must evaluate as true for the check to trigger the yes response. If the site selected is an IO site, the needle set option replaces the needle gauge option. The medication check requires a medication to be selected and then selecting which route or routes will satisfy the check. If a single route is selected, the author can identify a dose range and unit of measurement. The author can also choose between an infusion and push administration for the medication. The author can also use this check for a cumulative dose that is tracked during the simulation. The toggle in the medication check allows the author to check for the number of administrations rather than dosage. Some checks, such as the oxygen check, are time-specific. Is oxygen being given at the time the action was completed, or was oxygen given at some time prior to the action? When a single check node contains multiple conditions, every condition must be completed for the node to fire off as true or yes. If any of the conditions are not completed, the node will fire as false or no. Authors can create an or statement that allows nodes to continue downstream when any separate condition is met by arranging check nodes in parallel like so. This means if either of these checks evaluate to true, the downstream nodes will be triggered. Chaining check nodes together allows a case author to trigger a result or path of logic that is possible when multiple options are correct. In this example, the action triggers the first check, and if the condition is not met, the check is false and fires off the no path into another check, and so on until either one of the conditions is true and fires off the yes path. Thank you for watching this VR Patience video.